I want to share this thought with you. We talked about this at the top of the program. What's the greatest failure in your life? What could possibly, everybody's afraid of failing. Like, it's terrifying. Oh, I don't want to fail. Oh my gosh, what if I fail? Everybody's terrified of failure. But I say, and any successful person says, that it is the failures in my life that moved me forward. You can't make progress in your life. Listen to me. You can't make progress in any area of your life, not just professionally. Physical progress, relational progress, spiritual progress. You can't make progress without failure. Because when we move into new territory and we do new things and we attempt to move forward, guess what? We will stumble. In other words, we will fail. But it is when we fail that we were able to look at the failure, we step back and we go, what did I do wrong? What did I do right? What do I need to remove from the process? What do I need to improve? Okay? So failure is actually a good thing. Parents, quick aside here. Stop protecting your kids from failure. Would you please? Parents, I got 3 kids. This is a deal I deal with every day. I got a 14-year-old, an 11-year-old, and an 11-year-old. So I'm all the time trying to protect my kids. But in protecting them, I'm not letting them fail, which means I'm not letting them actually feel the sting. And they go, oh, it's not that bad. Failure's not really scary. Oh, man, sometimes I say stuff and I'm just like, is this going to offend people? Because I'm not in the game of offending. We don't do politics here, but I got to say this. I'm going to step on some more toes. And then I'll get to the teaching, the biggest failure. I'm on a rant right now, but it's the Ken Coleman Show, so I'm going to say what I want to say, okay? Because this is really good for you parents. And please don't be offended, but you need to hear this. And let me say this, last qualifier. I'm preaching to myself here. We have millions and millions of people in this world that are terrified to fail because their parents protected them from failure. And parents, I get it. We don't want to see our kids in pain. But sometimes we got to let them touch the burner to burn their little fingers so they go, I'm never going to touch the burner again. I know, graphic example, but guess what? That comes from my life. Never forget it either. 6-year-old Kenny Coleman decided to touch the burner. It was one of those electric stoves. Why is that orange? Life lesson. Don't touch the burner. Yeah, you know what? Shocking information, folks. Never touch the burner again. To this day, when I cook at my house, I'm a little gun shy. I'm easing in there real careful like, right? I don't want to get burnt. All right. Now that I went on the rant, parents, please let your kids experience failure. Then walk them through the failure. And they're going to be really, really resilient adults. All right. Here it is. The greatest mistake or the greatest failure that you can make in your life. And this comes from an Elbert Hubbard quote, and I absolutely love this, so I want to give him credit. He said, the greatest mistake you can make in life is continually fearing that you'll make one. So our greatest failure is allowing the fear of failure to keep us from doing anything. If you are so horrified and thus paralyzed by the possibility of failure, it's going to keep you from doing anything that would actually have the chance of failure. And these are the timid, miserable souls that sit on the bleachers of life. And they're watching the rest of us play the game. So here's the deal. Start to embrace failure as something that does not have to kill me or harm me. But if I have a plan and I know that the worst possible failure is just going to be a bruise or a skinned knee, then I'm good. I'll never forget learning to ride my bike. My dad was teaching me to ride the bike, and I was terrified. Couldn't do it. And in a stroke of genius, my dad figured out after about the second or third time, Joe, I just would not, he'd get me out on this little alleyway near our house, and he'd have his hand on the thing. He's like, I'm going to take the hand off right now. I'm taking it off. I go, no. I didn't fall apart. 8 years old. Stroke of genius. He said, all right, let's try something. This is like after the third day we tried to do this, and I'm just melting down because of fear that I'm going to fall over and break my neck and die. That's what an 8-year-old is thinking. He said, let's go in the back. We have a flat backyard at the bottom of this little hill behind our house. I'll never forget it. And he goes, let's go. And this flat piece, he goes, it's going to be harder to pedal, but if you fall, 2 things. You won't break anything. And 2, you're not even going to skin your knee up. You're riding on grass. And it made sense to me. And so we did the same thing we'd been doing. He grabbed a hold of that seat. He said, all right, now go. Pedal, 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 pedal. So I pedaled. And he said, I'm going to let go. I'm going to let go. And I was still like, ah. But in that moment, I was like, wait a second. He just defined failure for me. If I fall, I'm not going to break my bone, neck, or die. And I'm not even going to skin my knee. And in that moment, I go, okay. And I didn't melt down. And he let go of the seat. And guess what happened? I wrecked the bike. I really did. I wrecked it. Yeah, Joe was in my ear. He's going, oh, yeah, you rode it beautifully. See, that's the story you wanted to hear, didn't you? You wanted to hear Ken's victory. No, you're missing the point. And this is a true story. I wrecked the bike within about 5 seconds. I was like, ah! And I go to the left. It was just like this slow crash. Boom. But here's the beauty of the story. When I wrecked, guess what happened? Kind of gathered myself, and I'm still like halfway under the bike, and I realized for a second, wait a second. I'm alive. Wait a second. My neck works. My neck's actually working. Looked at my knees. All of my skin is there, Joe. And I got up, and my dad looked at me in all of his wisdom, and he went, see? I told you wouldn't get hurt. Now, the rest of the story is we did it again. Same deal. He let go of the seat, and this time I rode it. It is the failure that we must step into because it is the actual fear that is paralyzing us. So we've actually got to experience the failure to realize, wait a second, it's not as bad as my fear told me it was going to be. Nowhere near as bad. All right, I epic long rant. I can't get back to callers, but I'm going to tell you something. If you're new to the show or you've been listening to the show, you've heard me address fear so many times. I've never shared that story of me riding the bike. It just popped in my mind. But I'm going to tell you something. That story that I just shared is as real as some of the fear that you men and women are facing about stepping into the calling that the creator of the universe put you on this planet to fill. You're terrified to actually step in to the role that you were created to fill because it requires change. And change is scary because we don't know exactly what the path is going to look like. We don't know exactly what the timing is going to look like. And because of the unknown, we get afraid and we go, what if I fail? What if I start that business and I fail? Well, your brain is telling you you're going to be homeless and starve. That's a lie from the pit of hell. You're not going to starve. You're not going to be homeless. Stop thinking that garbage. Well, what if I change careers and I go take a job with a company and it doesn't work out? All my friends are going to think I'm a loser and they're going to just abandon me. No, they're not. Whatever your fear is, fear of rejection, what's it going to feel like if I apply for a job and they say no? It's going to hurt. I'm just going to tell you that right now. You're going to deal with insecurity, and it's not going to feel very good. But guess what? Welcome to life. You can't ride a bike until you wreck it. So I'm here for you, and I'm so fired up about this because I'm seeing it every day. And let me tell you this. I said this on yesterday's show. You cannot eliminate fear from your life, so get used to it. Embrace it. Some of you are trying to remove all fear from your life, and that requires you to do one thing. Put on a giant padded suit and go sit in a padded room. Well, I can't get hurt here. You want to know why you're miserable? Because your soul's saying, get out there. Be who you were created to be. Go love somebody. Go touch somebody. Go make an impact. Go influence somebody. And that's your heart and your head's going, no, don't do it because you might Fail. Ah! All right. You think I've beat up fear enough today? I think so. I think I've given a pretty good whipping. And that's what we need to do for each other. Express your fears to people. Get it out. Talk to somebody. Hear how silly it sounds. Put it on paper and look at it and go, oh my gosh, this is silly. This is not going to happen. If I have a plan, it's not going to happen. I'm going to be okay. I know that you're supposed to do something that somebody needs. Figure out what it is and understand that if I've got to move forward, I'm going to fail. There is no moving forward without failure.